Hello everyone. I was supposed to be with you today, however, I couldn't obtain the US visa because I am affected by the executive order that discriminates against 7 nations and countries, including my country, Yemen. This executive order deems us as national threats and treats us indiscriminately as terrorists. It's very upsetting and disappointing and, to say the least, disgusting. However, my voice will not be silenced. As director of the Peace Track Initiative and coordinating the efforts of the Women Solidarity Network, I work on a daily basis with women who are leading the peace building process at community level. Whether inside or in the diaspora, they're all contributing to peace building. I work with women who are mediating to end small conflicts about water resources or land. I work with women who are negotiating to open humanitarian corridors. I work with women who are working to release the detainees. I work with women who risk their lives to go evacuate families who are stuck at fire lines, and so on. And yet we see that the women are completely excluded in the peace process, especially in the peace negotiation table. As you saw in the Geneva consultations, the delegations only had one woman out of 24. And this is particularly very disappointing to us because Yemeni women were able to secure almost 30% in the national dialogue during the transitional period. We have been calling for meaningful participation of women since 2015 through working on the National Agenda on Women, Peace and Security that contributed to the President's statement of the UN Security Council clearly calling for 30% in the delegations. And yet this continues to be not respected. We have decided in this recent round of consultation that we are done calling for participation of women, and we just sent a delegation to go and communicate the messages of women that we work together in consultation with the women. Apart from that, the women also who are working, especially in the humanitarian field, don't have access to humanitarian funding. For example, only 18% of the humanitarian funding by the UN is allocated to local NGOs. Mostly they are male-led NGOs. And we know that, for example, 75% of the humanitarian volunteers are actually women who are working with INGOs. So it is very sad to see that women have faced a lot of difficulties to access funding because first they are not organized in traditional structures that the donors prefer to deal with. Apart from that, we have been facing, in terms of protection, we have been facing a lot of challenges since the beginning of the war. 70% of the cases reported on gender-based violence, 75% increased in the first 5 months of the war. It was very alarming. We are personally working on protection of women. For example, recently we have been supporting the women who were subject to a lot of violations during demonstration, and we supported relocating of young female students who were facing a lot of threats inside the country to resettle in regional countries. However, since last year, for example, some of them are still waiting for opportunities to resettle into a third country, and this is not happening. As we are celebrating the coming of age of the UN Security Council 1325, I am hoping that we can pressure the states, the different states who are committed to the Women, Peace and Security agenda, to translate the ink on that resolution into real programs, implementable programs in my country. I am done talking about women, peace, and security as a reference. I want to see it translated into action. Thank you.